on Peak itself, so digging more into the business itself, we
Mm.
met, I think, from memory, in 2014, and
Yeah,
you
15, I think.
were
I was
15.
trying to remember myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you were
mid.
pitching at a Northern Technology All Stars
Yeah,
event, I think, at UK Fast, and I was on the
yeah,
panel of the judges,
yeah. That's right.
and
Things
I
have.
think I actually turned around and I didn't realise my mic was still on, and I'd after your pitch, and I just went, "Oh, he's going to win, isn't he?" And the other panelists, and
So
quite a few people, I think, at the front
They're
of
like,
the
Chris.
um, and yeah, I think you may have also, Rich, but and you did win. I think
yeah, although there were 10 winners, they were picking like the 10 Northern Stars. So I think winning winning in a broad sense, it was good. It was a great cohort to be part of,
I
actually.
didn't really make that much of a gaff.
No, no, it made me chill out a little bit more about the result.
Yeah, you're like,
Thought, "Oh, at least we've got one vote."
And look, you've had amazing success since. I mean, could you chart sort of, I suppose, the more recent successes and maybe what you do, so the audience have a good sort of understanding of Peak.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Of
Peak
course. So,
AI. I'm never really sure whether to call it.
well, actually, we're comfortable with either. I mean, Peak. I call it Peak. I think everyone at Peak calls it Peak, and but you know, if the domain name gets used, fine. Peak.AI is also good. So we're not too precious on that. Yeah. So I was thinking about that. What's a good way to introduce Peak? As back then, actually, I don't think the purpose of Peak has changed, but the how we do this has changed a little bit as we've grown, obviously. But we essentially try to help businesses win with data and AI. We do that now in a way, and we can talk about this during the podcast. You might find it interesting as we call it decision intelligence these days, and that's how we position Peak. So I would say we're a decision intelligence company if we're at a sort of lower level of definition, specifically enabling companies to embed AI into the sort of core decision making that sort of makes their or powers their business, their value chain, how they grow, how they make profit. And we typically work with retailers. About just under half of our customer base are retailers, and we've got some great names that are sort of publicly disclosed as brilliant companies we work with, like Superdry and the Boohoo Group and AO.com and others, and a few that aren't sort of in the public domain. And then CPG is a sort of like growing area for us. We recently announced a new partnership with KFC, which is really exciting for us, and manufacturing as well too, and some really good like UK PLCs and global manufacturing businesses now working with us. And actually, the thing that sort of unites them all is that they're all product companies, right? They've all got physical products that they need to sort of sell and generate demand for, plan for that demand, and then fulfill the demand. And so, what we're able to do with our platform is optimize that and help them with this decision intelligence capability. So we are, you know, we're obviously a tech company. We're a SaaS business. Our customers are paying us a subscription to use our software, and we're helping them get the most out of the software. And then on top of that, you know, we kind of got a dual purpose at Peak. Like, you know, you met us first just after we set the business up, but we set the business up to do two things, like help companies win with data, but then also like build a company that everyone loved being part of. And we meant, you know, obviously the team, people connected to Peak, customers, partners, etc. So that's a core part of our mission. We just wanted to make a business that was enduring and people enjoyed being part of, right? And so that makes it twice as hard, because there's a way of growing a business one way, and there's a way of growing a business another way, and we have to choose that, you know, a way that is about more than just commercial growth for us. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, that's us really. And I think now approaching 200 people in the Peak team, which is pretty crazy, and we're global. You know, a lot of our business now comes from India and the US and outside of the UK. And like, I would say, yeah, we must be, we don't benchmark ourselves in this regard, but we must be the We must be the biggest commercial AI company certainly in the UK, if not Europe, and hopefully we can continue to grow.
Yeah. How long did it take you guys to come up with that kind of phrase of decision intelligence?
A while, actually, because it's a good question, because essentially we're adopting like a category creation strategy at Peak, right? Like, and actually, this is going to sound a little bit hype, a bit American for a second, but I think that like decision intelligence is fundamental to the future of companies. Like, if they need to harness AI in running their business, and it's a very hard thing to do, and it's a big change, but those that are doing it are winning already, and everyone's going to need to make that change. To do it and to do it right, you do need a brand new kind of business system to run on, which in our case we call CODI. That's the name of our platform now, which stands for Connected Decision Intelligence, right? But that decision intelligence system.
Can I just stop you here, Rich? And just, I'm a bit dim sometimes, but decision intelligence, if you were to sort of write it on a can of beans,
yeah,
what is it?
What would be inside the can?
Yeah, well, inside the can, you'd have to ask someone who knew what they were talking about. But if I would, good question. So as we define decision intelligence, it is essentially the use of artificial intelligence in optimizing your decision making, basically. So using AI to make consistently great, highly optimized decisions. And if you think about it, the reason that AI offers such promise to companies is that it is the first time that our technology helps us make decisions. Because like since the dawn of software, like mainframe computers, right, in the 40s and 50s, and then programmable ones in the 60s, humans are programming machines to help us cognitively. So they're giving us more like cognitive capacity, but we're still telling them what to do, and they're working for us, not with us.
Right. Like a calculator would be a good example, right? You use the calculator to simplify your math operations, but what if the calculator started telling you, hey, these are the problems you should be looking at?
Exactly that. Yeah, Anthony, I think that's a good way of looking at it. And so if AI fundamentally, I mean, we obviously use AI as a catch-all phrase for various different algorithmic techniques and machine learning, but like it just makes predictions and categorizations over big data sets that we can't comprehend as people, right? But those predictions and categorizations are fairly useless on their own, and that's why we call it decision intelligence. Like with those predictions, we can then make a decision based on a future state, and we can use the computer to optimize that decision. So as people, as like commercial decision makers, whether I'm a marketeer looking to target a particular audience to grow revenues, or whether I'm a merchandiser looking to buy the right amount of product and price it and allocate it across a stores network, I can make that decision, but in like this superhuman way, because the computer is giving me this decision intelligence capability. You as commercial decision makers can then decide, do I trust the machine enough to let it do loads of stuff for me? Or do I still want to supervise it? Or do I still want to program it and control it and give it guardrails? And like, definitely, but essentially, with the same team, we can achieve so much more. So that's why we're calling it decision intelligence, because it isn't AI. Like AI can be anything. AI could be a robot walking down the street. In business, what we need is something that essentially makes us superhumans in doing our day jobs, and that's decision intelligence as we call it. Yeah, so that's the sort of, maybe not the can of beans, but the packet of beans definition.
Yeah. I get it. And so putting that in the context of your customers, you mentioned a few of them before, they would obviously use Peak generally to enhance their revenues as an optimization, or
what are some of the goals?
I guess every organization has its own goals. I mean, in the sectors we play in, principally commercial ones, and companies want to grow faster with wider margins, pretty much. So we're enabling that. If you can make faster, greater, consistent decisions with a lot of certainty, you can like not carry excess stock. your return on capital goes up, you don't give away margin when you're pricing things and marking stuff down, so your profits are wider, or you're targeting customers better, or just talking to them and giving them a better proposition grows your sales. So you can both, like, you know, improve customer service, run leaner, and then, like in the supply chain, if you cut out that uncertainty, you can fulfill orders and run your distribution networks. We've got a great case study with a multinational CPG company where we've taken 10% out of the road miles that they're running around the UK. It's amazing, really. We think about the positive impact on like carbon emissions and so on. So you've got this sort of being, it's that sort of clarity. We, in our marketing, we sort of say stop hoping, because you make decisions based on historical data and hope that that's going to impact the future.
Well, there's the human confidence level of a decision, and then there's the decision intelligence confidence level that is used in the system, right?
Exactly. And the other benefit is obviously speed. Like the computer is working constantly 24/7. Whereas if we might make periodic decisions on what we buy and how we price and where we put products, because we just can't do that constantly. But if the machine can do it all the time, then we're also like
more adjustments.
Yeah. And actually the thing is, humans are great at making predictions. We're really good at looking at data and saying, well, given all of that, I think the sales might be this, or I feel like my customers might pay that. But we can't do that constantly across huge product portfolios all the time. So that's really why the key to this success, I think, of AI in business isn't AI taking over. Actually, it's like AI being used in this decision intelligence way to make us even better at our jobs. And that means people have to like sort of unlearn how they once did their jobs and do it a different way. It definitely doesn't mean that their jobs go away, because you still need that human intuition.
Superhuman intelligence rather than artificial intelligence.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things that I think is what I'd like to hear more about is when you first started getting customers or clients, how much hand-holding did you need to do to get them decision intelligence ready? Did they already have all the inputs defined and data structured in a nice way, and all you guys had to do is come along with your AI? Or was it, a lot more difficult than that?
It still is a lot more difficult than that, yeah, because so as we've matured, basically we've standardized more. So we've been able to, first of all, we standardized on a data platform that enabled all of it. And then on top of the data platform, we've added this capability of like basically programming the AI quicker. And on top of that, now we've added applications that give us like solutions to business problems. So all of those things are standardized. So we've got this like full stack platform, and that's fairly unique with us, right? And one of the reasons why we're seeing such strong growth and adoption, like we've solved a huge infrastructure challenge. Build that thing. The alternative is you have to build it yourself. So like it's quite a unique product, just stitching it all together. But now it's all stitched together and everything's standardized. You still need to set it up. So our business model is very much that we still reach into our customer's business and we help them set the applications up and get the most out of it. A transition we'll make over time is like more self-serve. Like we are collaborating a lot with our customers' data science teams. They're doing more and more themselves. Their engineers are working on our platform, and then but our customer success teams helping our customers themselves like change the way they do things and run their business differently. That's going to have to stay for sure. I think at some point, and this is in our plans over the next 18-24 months, is to enable partner organizations to do a lot of that as well. And I think that's going to be a really great way of scaling for Peak, particularly globally. Like, we don't need to take direct responsibility for every customer. At the moment, it's really important that we do, because the understanding of how they're successful just feeds back into the product, and it's like a virtuous sort of cycle and a loop.
Yeah, the feedback loop.
Yeah, and I see a lot of software companies with a sort of traditional aspect on SaaS businesses won't do that, and they're missing out on a sort of vital input, I think. And I think in our space, where our customers don't have the skills in doing that gives us a competitive advantage. We get that sort of meta understanding, if you like, of how to make the change into being a decision intelligence powered company. And then that allows us to build better products. So we're not going to stop doing that for a long time, but we will probably, do it differently over the course of the next few years.
You're helping them help you.
We all win together.
To use the cliche.
That classic, well, funnily enough, I've been on panels where you sometimes have certain VCs that are like, so what are you disrupting? What problem are you solving? And it kind of, they get all excited and animated. And it's kind of like, sometimes there's businesses where it's not, yes, you are changing the way people work, but you're kind of, not necessarily, it's not all about blowing things up and disrupting things. And I'm just sort of, curious to hear your thoughts, Rich, on, the sort of where the bigger picture goes with decision intelligence, and, is it a very sort of early stage type technology that in 10 years time, it could have grown into, a massive industry? I'm just,
I think the answer to that's yeah. So I think it's quite a profound space to be in a sense, because it's going to change the way companies work for the better. I think it's going to make them more sustainable, and so I think a very good thing. But it's such a nascent space at the moment. I think we might be the sort of early category leader almost globally, but we're very small compared to like a Salesforce or something like that, right? So I do think the space will get so big and so important over the next 10, 15 years that there will be a software company will emerge as the category winner that becomes like, Snowflake, then onto a Salesforce or something like that. And that we do want that to be Peak. But I don't think that sort of, I'm not a fan of the word disrupt either. Well, I don't know, really, because it is a step function in how companies are going to run. It's not going to disrupt them or disrupt industries. They're going to relearn like a new way of running even better. And actually, we're not dislodging anything. And this is interesting, I think, because you need this new decision intelligence system, but you still need all the other bits of kit you've already got in your business to carry out the things that the decision intelligence brain wants you to. So I don't really see it as a huge disruption in that regard. I just see it as a big sort of step function.
Could it be categorized as a disruption enabler? If your clients are using your technology and the competitors aren't, it kind of enables them to disrupt their competition?
Yeah, well, I definitely think that the companies that harness it are going to win their own industries, right? And so it's gonna cause I have this existential debate going on in my head, which I've never told anyone about, which is logically the market's huge. If you go, every company needs this, the market's absolutely massive. But what if only like 10% of every company does it right and they massively win, and the other 90% of companies like go? So the market might be really small. I don't know. I hope not. So, but it could. But I think industries will disrupt as companies make those moves. But I don't see us as like technology disruptors, because we're not going, hey, you don't need databases anymore. We've got this magic fairy dust or something so.
Just use our magic wand.
Yeah.
So 200 people in the business. You started, I think, was it just the two of you all those years ago? How's that transition been? And are you really still hyper involved in every decision that's made, or are you now having to, delegate? I'm just interested in hearing what your sort of structure and your role is now, Rich.
Yeah, well, I definitely feel like I have to sort of relearn how to do my job every like 6 months or so. I get this period of like tension where I feel like totally out of control, and then I realize that it's because I'm focusing on the wrong things. I think a lot of that just comes from growth, right? We've generally grown at 100% every year for the last few years, and before that, like tripling in the early years. And so that was so the job does change like really fast. I think I've always been all right at like delegating to a certain extent, in so much as like we've always had a strong management team, and I definitely don't feel like it is about me or should be about me. And so and there are just better people in specific, you're a bit of a generalist as a CEO, I think, and your job is to spot things that could go wrong before they go wrong and course correct, basically. And so yeah, one of the biggest things that's changed recently, I think, is the time horizon. So the time horizon used to be obviously next week, next week, and then maybe next month. And as you're past the point that you're going to survive as a startup, then you start to be able to look a bit further out. So I am able to like work on a few things that are like longer term, and then have a management team that are focused on operating the business. But I've set up frameworks because I love like working with our customers and hearing that, and I also like helping our team and helping them develop. So I run my diary a bit such that I have time to actively involve myself still with some customers and on some internal projects. And some of the reasons for doing that is obviously just information gathering and then helping decision making for me, really. But I don't want to or need to be involved in every day. We have a great exec team here that I think can take us on to 100 million ARR. So I don't feel the need to get involved. But yeah, I've gone through a period of relearning my job again in the last few months. The weirdest thing is just we've hired 60 people since COVID broke. So I've not met them in that sense. So as we start to open the office, I've met everyone on Zoom, but I've not met in person. So I'm really...
And the whole business located Manchester?
In the UK, mostly Manchester. Yeah, we have a bit of a team in London now and Edinburgh, and then we have maybe 40 or so people in our Jaipur office because we've got like a development center in India, and we've just opened another location in Pune actually. So India's growing quite fast for us, but that's sort of broadly where all the
on that management point. Have you guys developed some internal decision intelligence tools that are honed for exactly what you guys are working on with your clients and stuff? Because obviously the tech you've built for your clients probably isn't as suitable for exactly what you guys need internally. But have you, what's the story there?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, on that point. I mean, we're obviously not our own ideal customer profile, but the data science team, and the engineering team build a load of cool sort of widgets and automations that help stuff, and we've just got the skills to do that, and they like to tinker. So we do have a lot of like little bits of kit that we've built just to help the information flow and the speed of stuff. So that's all good. Kind of have to fight that though. Every time you're buying a new piece of software and you look at the bill and you're like, oh, we could build that. That's so expensive, and you have to sort of fight the urge. But the main decision intelligence system really just comes from vision. Like we've got a strong vision and clarity across the whole business. And if you and we found at this stage and size, if you set the communication flow upright across the whole company and then into teams, and we have company OKRs and department OKRs, and we run on those, that empowers everyone just to make their own decisions every day, and you don't have to so that's our decision intelligence system is more of an OKR based metrics thing, and it's not as fancy as what we do for our customers.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So turning towards that beloved topic of investment, and you, from memory, Mitch, you've taken some great funding from some great VCs like Pretora and MMC. I think are two that stand out in my mind. Just when you are meeting the VC and the different people, and some founders are like, oh God, fundraising. Oh, I know it's a necessary evil. I have to do it. Just what are you looking for? Because we have a variety of different responses from founders on this, and I'm curious what yours would be.
Yeah, well, I've never felt like that. I know some people feel like that, and maybe that's just because my background's a bit more commercial than, not a technical founder might find that more draining. I see it as a good opportunity. You're telling the story, you're learning off people, You've got to tell the story and pitch it to recruit great people. So everything's practice. As a CEO anyway, every meeting's like a sales meeting in a way, So you've got to sort of be practicing your pitch all the time. So I don't see that as an issue. What we've always looked for, I had a really simple rule with fundraising over the years, and still stick to it, is do I like the person and do I want to work with them? All money isn't created equally. We could have raised off very different venture firms. We could have raised off different venture firms at different valuations too. But we've chosen, there's a strong theme there with Procura from the seed funding, then MMC Series A, Ox recently Series B, really high integrity, strong, great people that you enjoy working with.
I don't know Ox, but are they all UK VCs?
Yeah, Ox is a UK and Swedish fund. So not exclusively UK, but yeah. And so actually,
is that by design there, Rich, or
I don't know.
US VC can sometimes come in and go, we really like you, but you're going to have to move to San Francisco, or HQ's got to be in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. Well, we've got a little list of criteria for future. So we are thinking about, at some point we'll want to raise a growth round, a Series C or something if we carry on like this. And on the list of criteria probably is our ideal next lead investor would be a US fund with a strong brand and strong expertise in like category creation and B2B software. And the reason for that is because as we grow, and if we want to win the sector globally, right, we're going to need to attract great talent in the US. I think, we don't have a operation there and we don't have a strong brand yet. So getting a bit of a boost up and being part of some sort of well-regarded scale-up group that might emerge and make it one day would be good for us. So I think we do have that in our minds. But yeah, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of US funds over the years, and my any advice to founders would be, when pitching, pitch the big vision. Like, I'm quite bad at it because I want to be truthful in so much of a sense as like, I want to be more like, this is where we are, here's what we're trying to do, and know that we're going to do that thing. And that works really well in the UK. In the US, like, unless you're going, we're going to change the world because every company in the world is going to be running on this system in 10 years. And by the time they are, we're going to be bigger than Salesforce. If you don't say something like that, they don't even pay attention. So like, I do think there's an element of push yourself out.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, pretty much. So I don't know, but like, I think it's important to have integrity generally. So that's why I've never done that. But now that it feels more like it's a possibility, the pitch has got a bit bigger. So
it seems to, I don't know if the pandemic's changed this, actually, I'm sort of speaking out loud, but the need that you have to go and have a big base in the US if you want to become a big global player. Do you think that's diminished slightly with the pandemic and the growth?
I do actually.
Virtual?
Definitely, because
businesses will stay in their home countries, not just talking about the UK, but obviously in the EU. Is that a trend you agree with?
I think it's hard to know. I'd like to think it'll go away, because 18 months ago, the answer to that question would be, well, we're going to move our HQ to New York at some point, like I would have probably said. Now we're debating whether we're going to do that at all. Like, as in, I think the concept of a HQ goes away in like a sort of hybrid working model where you have like home clubhouses, as we're calling them now, for like offices around the world. And you can work from anywhere. Like, what is a HQ, And I think in that sense, you don't need to move your power base to the city or the country that you're going to be wanting to IPO in or something like that. So I definitely think if our goal was to IPO one day, at this point in time, you would probably say the best place to do that would be like NASDAQ listing or something. But do we need to be a US company to do that? Like, previously, I think people would have thought you did, but I'm not sure that's the truth of the matter anymore. As long as you can service your customers really well and you can grow in a region, doesn't really matter where your management team are sat in that sense, if you're a global company. And another thing that's changed our thinking on that a little bit is just because we're growing fast in Asia and in the US. So actually the UK is the perfect time zone wise, the perfect location. So I'm not sure whether we would actually move that sort of base to the US. Obviously, we'll have a big presence there if we're successful, but
just go for a dual listing. Why not?
yeah, just to add spice to it. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Fix it up.
Exciting times ahead, mate. Anything we've missed that you might want to just add, Rich, before we go, or we covered all?
No, good. That was fun chat. Hopefully useful for you guys. Happy to help out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really, the growth and the story is fantastic, and I think, we'll hopefully check in with you in 12, 18 months, and it'll be double where you are. I mean, I can't see the kind of corny pun, but it really is a bit. It's flying, isn't it? Really, the business. Well done. And
yeah, thanks, mate.
Amazing.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the support as always.
Yeah. That's what we're here to do. But thanks, Ian, and thanks from Anthony as well.
Yeah, definitely. Pleasure.
Cheers, guys. Take it easy.
Take care.